Bowling, a professional sport that is forgotten among the major televised sports. A sport that takes high concentration and precision to perfect the craft of getting strikes like these. But bowling is also a sport that everyday people can do for recreation and is for all ages, from very young to the elderly. But no matter what age or skill level, we always want more of these. And today, I'm going to show you how to improve your bowling score. One of the first factors in improving your bowling score is choosing the right ball. There are many weights and sizes of balls that have different advantages. You want to pick one that is not too heavy, but not too light. Here you can see the first ball is too small as my fingers are sticking in the holes. The second ball seems to have a good fit. The blue ball seems to have too wide of a grip from fingers to thumb, while also having too big of finger holes. The darker ball also has too big of finger holes, which will cause the ball to come out earlier than it should. Another important thing to think about seems fairly obvious, but actually plays a big part in your bowling game: the shoes. You want to make sure you get a good pair of shoes that aren't too big, but not too small. Typically, you want to go a half a size bigger than your everyday shoe. Also, make sure you check the sliding capability when you put them on. Every bowler has their own take on technique, just like a batter has their own stance in baseball. And today, I'll be showing you the basic way to throw a ball, but first, common ways not to throw the ball. First up is the granny style. This is often used with younger kids or frustrated bowlers. The problem with this is you do not get the proper accuracy or power and typically end up with shots like this. Second is what I like to call the wrist flick. This is where the bowler throws the ball inversely from how you are typically supposed to do it. The problem with this form is you are not getting enough power and you are putting a backspin on the ball, and you usually end up with results like this. Finally, there's the start and stop. It is exactly how it sounds. The bowler walks up to the foul line, swings, and releases. The problem with this is you lose momentum and accuracy and typically end up with shots like this. So today, I will be walking you through the 5 basic steps of how to improve your bowling score. The first step has to do with your alignment. Near the ball return are 7 dots on the floor. If you are left-handed, you would put your left toes on the dots. You would put your toes 1 dot over from the dot you want to aim for. These dots correlate with the dots and arrows that are on the lane, which we will discuss later. The second step has to do with your approach. Within your approach, depending on how big your strides are, you want to take 4 to 5 steps, with your final step being your toe slide. Ideally, you want your toe to slide up to the line on the same dot that you originally had lined up in your approach.
Go ahead.
The third step is probably the most important part, and that is the swing. The swing is the most important part because it will dictate where your ball ends up going. You can see that you start your motion of your swing with your first step. This is to help get power behind your swing. Within your swing, you want your back swing to go as far back as possible, as this will aid in momentum and power. As you are coming forward with your swing, you want to make sure that your arm is straight. The fourth step is your aim. As I said earlier, there are dots and arrows all along the lane and approach area that aid you in your aim. Each lane has 7 dots and 7 arrows. If you are a lefty, you will aim for one of the 3 left arrows. If you are a righty, you will aim for one of the right 3 arrows. When you throw your ball, you want it to roll over the arrow you are aiming for, and more often than not, you will hit your target. Finally, the last step is your release of the ball. When releasing the ball, you want to make sure the timing is right. You don't want to wait too long, as the ball will fly in the air and lose momentum, but you don't want to do it too early for the same reason. You also want to make sure that your thumb come out before the fingers come. If you want to put a curve on the ball, you want it to release as if you were shaking hands with the lane. You also want to make sure you follow through with your swing. Don't just stop when you release the ball. Follow all the way through. Another thing that will help you with your score is bowling courtesy. If someone picks up their ball and starts their approach as you're in your beginning stance, or when you take your first step, just stop and let them go so you can regain your focus. Otherwise, you could end up with a throw that looks like this.
Hey, my name is Tracy. I've been bowling since I was 11 years old. Got in the league about when I was 16, bowled for 22 years, and then got hurt and had to retire. Yeah, the key to bowling is technique. You need technique so that you can have fun and do it properly. The best technique is actually, or the biggest technique is actually your balance. If you have balance, you use your strength, leverage, and be able to throw the ball properly, aim properly, and just lets you do everything and enjoy the game. As you're bowling, you have to watch as to when your ball breaks going down the lanes, and then you can make proper adjustments as you need from there. Move to the left, move to the right, whichever you need. You'll be able to see just on doing that, the aim, the oil, everything. It all comes into play. Your balance, your technique, your strength, everything comes into play right there.
Figuring your average is very easy. You take the total score of your games and divide by the number of games you bowled, and you have your average. So if you pay attention and tweak these 5 basic steps, your stance, approach, swing, aim, and your release, you will improve your bowling score or average. Bowling is a sport that can be played by people of all ages and all skill levels. And if you follow my 5 tips, you could go from this to maybe one day, this. Every bowler has their unique technique, and twerks.